I'm Terina Lee. Welcome to MGig. In this show, we'll talk to Susie Cupidol from Alex Rocks about live music coming to the program. We'll look at a live musical coming up later in the year, Night of Broken Glass. And Matt Ryan is back with his review of Munster Times. But first, Jack Howard from Hunters and Collectors to talk about his new book. How you going, Jack?
Good, Terina. How are you?
I'm great. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, no worries.
So obviously, for people that don't know of you, you came to fame with Hunters and Collectors. You also do a few other things at the moment. Do you want to give us a little brief about some of the other things you're involved in at the moment?
Yeah. Hunters is occasionally still going.
Yeah.
We officially broke up in '98, but we've had a few comebacks like Nellie Melba over the years. And we've still got, in fact, at the start of COVID, we were in the middle of a big red hot summer tour.
Which
and we've rescheduled a few of those shows for 2022. But in the meantime, I've got some of my own shows. I've got my own band, Jack Howard and the Long Lost Brothers. We've got some shows coming up at George Lane on January 29th and the Macedon Railway Hotel, getting out of town on February 20th.
Nice.
And I do an epic brass thing, which is a lot of fun. We're playing the Gershwin Room in March. But the one that I'm kind of very excited about for St Kilda Writers Week coming up is I've developed a Bacharach show over the last few years. And it started out back at Pure Pop Records. Do you remember Pure Pop?
I do, yeah. I remember.
Pure Pop had this incredible summer of classic albums, and they had 76 artists ended up doing 76 classic albums. Courtney Barnett, all sorts of people were doing amazing things there. And I ended up doing a Bacharach record from start to finish, and it was fantastic. It was really great. Well, like everybody was weeping. People just love those songs so much. And kind of continued on from that. That was a few years ago now, but excited to be doing it on Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
Which I'm completely cynical about, I have to say, so it's a bit of a funny one. But we're doing Valentine's Day at MIMO, which is going to be great.
Yeah, give a different meaning to Valentine's Day for you.
Yes, yeah.
And you recently brought out this book late last year, which is basically your memoirs.
My musical memoirs.
Yes.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about the book?
Yes. Small Moments of Glory. Jack Howard, Small Moments of Glory. Look, I toured with Midnight Oil a few years ago in 2017. World tour of the 77 shows around the world. It was an amazing year, incredible year. And I kept a blog along the way of the tour, and it kind of proved quite popular. I just wrote a little bit first and sent it off to Midnight Oil management, and they're very particular about what goes out where for the band. And they started using it on their Facebook site, which is, 250,000 followers, so it was great.
Yeah, that's a nice compliment.
It was nice, and people really liked it. And lots of people kind of said, "Oh, you should write a book. You should write a book." So I wrote a book.
Here we are.
After the tour. So, and it's pretty much my life in music. I mean, but I guess outside of the interest of, the bigger names like Hunters and the Oils, it's kind of my early days because I was a classical trumpet player growing up, and I studied music at La Trobe, and since Hunters broke up in '98, I've been doing 1,000,001 different things as well, from teaching to just playing with Rodriguez and Violent Femmes and UMI and all sorts of people. So it's kind of my tale. I guess it's a little bit of a different kind of tale because I guess most rock bios are lead singers and lead guitarists.
Yeah.
And there's probably not many out there by the horn player, I would imagine. I would imagine they're few and far between. So it's a bit of a different take, and it's a very musical take on it all as opposed to, backstage, sorted backstage.
Like parties
and things like that,
Yeah. No doubt there's a lot of interesting stories, though.
Yeah, there's probably more boring stories, to be honest.
I don't believe you. And so this book, you're showcasing a bit of it at the St Kilda Writers Week coming up.
Yes. I was I bumped into Brian Nankervis the other day. I was just talking about the idea of, because I've been doing my own thing for about 20 years now. I've put out 10 records, putting out lots of other ones on Bandcamp, as well. And that's all great, and I love it, and I love playing live. But I also thought at 62 years old, I just wanted to do something a little bit different as well that might give me another avenue to, open up another door. So writing the book, I hoped, besides just, having the satisfaction of having written a book, just to get involved in some other things. So I'm doing some stuff at St Kilda Writers Week, which I think starts on February 14th. Runs for about 2 weeks.
Yep. Whereabouts are they hosting that one too?
Look, it's all over St Kilda. I think I'm doing a reading at Readings bookstore.
Yep.
in St Kilda and doing the show, the Bacharach show on Valentine's Day, but they've got a whole bunch of other events. I do know that they've been hit a little bit by COVID.
Yep.
They had some great writers coming down from Sydney, and I think some of that's being postponed until later in the year.
That's
Stuart Coop, who wrote the Paul Kelly book, and Mark Mordew, who wrote the new Nick Cave book, Boy on Fire, they were going to be coming down for it, and they can't come down.
Of course.
Because of good old COVID, our friend. So I think some of that's being postponed until later in the year. But I still think it'll be really, there's going to be lots of great stuff going on there still.
Yeah, definitely. It just, I guess it's a reason to hold another one. We'll hold another Writers' Week just to get them down and get involved. Yeah, definitely. And also, you mentioned to me before filming, obviously, Bacharach are going to be doing a little show at the Writers' Week as well. Yeah,
so the Bacharach show is at a Mimo, like I say, for Valentine's Day.
Yeah.
And it's nice to kind of get an opportunity, because I've played at Mimo quite a bit. I've done, I did a record launch of my own there a few years ago, and I've done the Epic Brass show there quite a bit. The Bacharach has kind of flown on, I suppose, a little bit of a different radar. We were playing the Caravan Club, Flying Saucer, the Firefly, all of which have now closed.
I know.
Which is a major bummer. Well, the Caravan's relocated to Archie's Creek.
Okay, that's great. I actually I didn't know that.
Down Wonthaggi way. So it's great, but
it's
not
a bit of a
hike.
Venue. Yeah.
So there are all these fantastic venues where we had lots of opportunities to play. In fact, we played at the Firefly in December just before that shut. But it's a beautiful show. A couple of girls singing on lead vocal who are twin sisters. Brilliant singers and brilliant players. They play violin and flute. And what I love about the Bacharach, and I suppose one of my preferences musically is like songs and music with beautiful arrangements, really well arranged orchestration and instrumentation.
Yeah.
And I kind of had the opportunity to do the arrangements for the Bacharach show for violin, flute, flugelhorn, trombone, vibraphone, you know, and then we've got guitar, piano, bass and drums. So it's a really rich sound. Yeah. And it's a very, very good band that kind of doesn't probably get that bigger spotlight that maybe Epic Brass has got. So I'm really happy to be doing it at Mimo.
Yeah,
because they've got just brilliant production there as well, and, you know.
Yeah, they've been doing all right.
Yes.
Their live streamings and stuff.
And they've been fantastic through lockdown.
Yeah.
They've kept doing stuff. They've done great streaming stuff with
I think they're one of the first venues, at least in St Kilda, to do the live streaming, weren't they?
Yeah, and they've had the production team from Rockwiz, you know, Renegade Productions. So it's been really high class stuff. Yeah. So that's been very good.
Okay, Jack, thanks for joining me.
No worries, Terina.
Good luck with the Bacharach show.
Thanks again.
On December 6, 2020, the German Chancellor Angela Merkel offered a full apology for the rejection and endorsement of a petition by William Cooper and his Indigenous representatives, who protested with a petition against the cruel persecution of Jews during Kristallnacht in 1938. Night of Broken Glass is a musical event created by Warren Wills, the celebration of multi-faith, multi-race and multi-generational cooperation, creativity, development and performance. The 400 performers, including preschoolers and Holocaust survivors, is a mix of amateurs, professional, special needs, mainstream, homeless, ex-offenders, children and the elderly.
I think what we're attempting to do is there's two different angles to it. One is the content of what we're doing, which is the relationship between the Aboriginal community here in 1938 and the events of Kristallnacht over in Germany. Is that those events better or worse than anything? There's injustice, there's inequality. You could fill the world over a million times with it. None is better, none is worse. One life lost due to inequality is a tragedy. 6 million lost, it unfortunately becomes a statistic, and most people can't even comprehend the enormity of the crime. So in terms of which one bigger or worse, they're all bad. What is of particular interest to me, I grew up in Australia, and I came out after 12 years of education here. I could tell you who Yvonne Goolagong was when it came to Aboriginal culture and history. I put my hand up in shame, that's all I knew. I couldn't believe it when I heard about this William Cooper story. It is so incredible when you think about what the Aboriginal community in Australia was experiencing in 1938, to then hear about an injustice happening miles away to people they didn't even know about, and decide, we're going to make a stand about this, we are going to get on the case of the German government. I think it's the most fantastic story. Even to this day, according to our research, it is the only private citizens' protest in the world ever made about it. What is more exciting, as you might know, and some of your viewers and other people might know, it took 82 years, but finally, on December 6, on the year just gone, the awful and terrible plague that was 2020, one good thing that came out of it was that, in fact, Angela Merkel actually officially apologised for the rejection of the petition by William Cooper, and furthermore, endorsed all the recommendations made on it. So I like to think there is a positive takeaway. This is not a negative story about atrocities, but in fact there is a positive side to this. I should also throw in the fact that what we're doing here with this, what I call socially inclusive music theatre, to a certain extent, the content, the story is incidental. Happens to be the story is fantastic. But even if it was a lesser story, the idea of actually taking disparate elements of a community, professionals, amateurs, young people, old people, testimony from survivors, dancers, musicians, kids at risk from criminal traumatised backgrounds, drug abuse backgrounds, special needs kids, kids with autism, spina bifida, Down syndrome, putting them all together to do world premieres of new musicals collaboratively is something that I've been doing since 2000 in London with Haringey Shed. I love it. I love it. It is genuinely transformational. And unlike sport, you get winners, you get losers. By its nature, it's adversarial. Doing music theatre with everyone, it's a win-win situation. It is fantastic, not just for those participating, but the knock-on effect to the community. We've done this in the past where people have come forward, they've given clothes to the people on stage, to the homeless, they've made food for people. I mean, it is, and in fact, if I can, my practitioner, who is a guy called Yamin Chowdhury, Choudury, Google search him. He came to me when his mother, a Bangladeshi Muslim, came to me. She said, "Oh my God, he's involved in crime. What can I do with him? He's all getting in knife fights, the police in London, in Haringey, whatever." Fast forward to where we are today, he has the best directing job in London. He's the artistic director of the Hackney Empire. He does the best TED Talks in the world about coming from a violent background, getting into socially inclusive music theatre, learning the skills of lighting, the technical skills to do with sound production. He then did a drama degree. He then did a whole thing with acting, became a director. And as I say, if you know where the Hackney Empire is, where Charlie Chaplin trod the boards back in the 20s, he is now the artistic director. So believe me, this is genuinely transformational work. I found, it was about 2005, when it was the 200th anniversary of the abolition of slavery in Great Britain. And all the schools up and down in the curriculum had to be teaching it, about William Wilberforce and all the rest of it. Kids, by and large, bored, didn't want to know it, it's history, who cares? Turn it into music theatre, where the kids are actually reenacting it on their feet, bringing it to life, making it a real thing, acting, dancing, writing, singing. Suddenly, it's not history anymore, it's real. We got the kids doing actual slave trades, slave auctions. We had black kids playing white slave owners. We had white kids being manacled, going across the Atlantic to America as slaves. Suddenly the whole thing of the slave trade became very real. Yes, you can teach it at school. Yes, you can sit there and kids can go, yes, in 1938, this happened, yes. I'll tell you what, music theatre, actually stage it, get your hands dirty with it, reenact it, it's fantastic. It really becomes a living thing. I find that the more that people actually spend delivering the story of William Cooper and understanding it, we have more positive takeaways. For example, when we did this in 2018 in November, by December there was already a William Cooper Scholarship at Monash University. I'd like to think it was in the curriculum that everyone was studying this story in school, that it really should be part of the school curriculum. It's a great story. As I say, what most kids come out and they can tell you who, Yvonne Goolagong or Yvonne Cooley is. They should know who William Cooper is. They should know who Jack Charles was on the show. Who gave a fantastic testimony. What I find extraordinary as well, you look at what the Jews went through with Kristallnacht. There was a major outcry in the world, and to a certain extent there were reparations paid by the Germans. Fast forward 82 years, where are the Australian reparations being paid to Indigenous Australians? The Australian thing with the Aboriginals has now gone on for 200 years. So many injustices remain. This is why it's so important to get the story out. People don't know the story. When Jack Charles was telling us the whole story of the stolen generation, well, after 4 months being taken from your family and getting a criminal record for it, come on.
From the German side, and particularly the official German side, speaking on behalf of the German government, it is extremely important for these events to be commemorated, which is why the German government has been very pleased to support the events like this one staged by Warren Wills and other events that commemorate what William Cooper tried to do back in 1938.
I've got the lovely Susie Q and Mark E from Alex Rocks joining me today. How are you guys?
Hey,
Yeah, we're great.
Very
How
well.
you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Keeping on.
thanks for having us on MGig.
Always a pleasure. So obviously I got you guys on because Alex Rocks just did their first sort of live performance for the show, which has ultimately been the goal from the start.
Great to go into 2021 with some live, performance. Yes, sort of unplugged at this stage, but moving towards full band, full
Yeah.
setup. That's the goal. So
It is a goal, but you
You
know,
know?
it's going to vary over time because
Yeah.
we've seen what's happened state by state, so we never
Yeah.
know state by state.
baby steps.
That's it.
We're on
But
the right
our goal,
course.
is we're all about. Well, we're about Australian rock, but we're really about live music when it's all said and done. And we've been fortunate enough to present it at least Australian rock over this period, but to be able to present live music again, yeah, that's our dream, isn't it, Mark?
Yeah, well, it all goes hand in hand, doesn't it? Whether you're, playing live, rolling a video, talking about an album, interviews. Yeah, it's all, a all-encompassing, show about promoting Australian music, whatever format you have to do that. So
Yeah, if we have to Zoom, we'll Zoom.
Yeah, that's right. We started off at the start of last year. Wow,
When?
we started off with a live show,
With
as a live
Tits.
test pilot,
Yeah.
full
We did the live
band,
stream.
and then really literally the following week we were told, shut it down, you can't come in, it's all over. And then so we limped along with Zoom interviews and things so when we were allowed to come back in, then went to having guests in, and now actually in some way we're having unplugged artists coming in.
Well, I think it's amazing you guys are being able to now, like you said, sort of, dip your toe in the water. We've had some live performances.
Yeah.
Even if it's unplugged, it's a great first step. How was that first, logistically getting the bands in and
Easy.
getting them to play live?
Initially,
Easy.
last year, right at the start.
Yeah.
Oh,
It
no.
was easy, easy as hell, because they were people we knew that were hanging
Yeah.
to
get
come in
out
and play.
yeah.
And we worked with a calibre of musician that we knew could trust each other. They'd either jammed or played in various bands together. So pulling together that unique group of musicians, it was just super fun.
It was it was a lot of fun. It was
super cool as well.
Yes, it was. Look, it was blues based,
Yeah.
music where people could
can't
just
go wrong.
easily jump on and
Yeah.
get together and who had a drummer from this band, a guitarist from this band. It was all a real mix up, and everyone had a great time. Tech were loving it. I mean, the producers, Simon and Tim, of course, gave them a chance to run through all the production. We had, who were the guys we had in on sound? We had Lockie, we had Lofty. Lofty, not Lofty.
Lofty and Nick Marsden.
And Nick Marsden, on the decks and on these decks, not these decks.
Yeah, thanks. 2 turntables
Not
and a
these ones,
microphone.
these ones.
No, with actual faders
But,
and things. No, that was super. Yeah, look, and we look forward to doing it again. And I think each week we get closer and closer, and it will fold in and out.
Yeah,
because
of course.
This
We're
is an
still
Oz
getting
rock show.
COVID
It's not
normal as well.
a St Kilda show. It's not a Melbourne show. We want to represent everyone, but the logistics of that at the moment is kind of tricky.
Yeah.
So we just work with it week by week, and
The Zoom thing is great. I mean,
we're looking forward to actually taking Alex Rocks on the road.
Yeah. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Go catch some bands like that are doing some like
Exactly.
rural touring and
Different
stuff.
venues.
Yeah.
Actually,
Which I think is going to be happening a lot this
instead
year.
of our 3D reality, we're going to go out into the real
Go on
world.
some
Well, yeah,
location.
it is. I know that they're putting together a mobile setup. So
Yeah.
if
That'd
it
be
isn't
awesome.
feasible to do something here, then we can go to somewhere, and put a show on that is set up for a full live setup and just roll the gear in, and book that
That's
venue.
exciting.
And that should be happening very soon. So, stay tuned for that. We're looking forward
Yeah.
to
What's
that
happening?
one.
There's lots of options we're
Yeah.
dealing with or trying to create, really. So
Well, that's it. We are.
We're creating
We're
options.
creating.
creating sort of ways to continue to proceed. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, coming back to the recent episode you guys did with the live music, who did you have on exactly for anyone who hasn't seen it?
Yeah,
We had Steve Lucas,
Yep.
ex Bigger Than Jesus, and he does a lot of his own solo shows. And we also had
Empirical Prey, they're called.
Okay.
5-piece Melbourne band. Very, very, very good. A new band. And so we had 3 members come in and do an unplugged a couple of songs.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, and Steve, he kicked out a tune.
couple of tunes.
Couple of tunes.
We got one in the
Yeah.
can. We've got, one's available online now, but
Yeah.
we've
Yeah.
still got one in the can.
Yep. Awesome.
And we hope to do that for musicians as well. So it's not just a chance for them to come in and have an exposure for their music. It's that we'll hope to be able to give them
Some quality
something to
recording
walk away
and-
with,
yeah.
a quality recording of their song
Yeah.
that they can walk away with and use going forward.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely, sure thing. Yeah, and every episode, I think from now on, we're going to have at least one live performance. One of the guests or one of the bands will
Yeah.
at
Do a
least
little.
one, and then go from there. It'll be great to just have 3 or 4. The whole episode. Being that's the format where you come in,
Have a
play
chat.
a little bit of a chat, and
They've got to
great.
give us an hour. We've
know.
got to talk to the producers.
We'll get there. We'll get there. Hear that over there?
We're looking at you guys.
Yeah.
All right, thanks guys for joining me. I can't wait to see all the amazing live performances we're going to have on Alex Rocks coming up.
Yeah, we look forward to showing
Us
them to
too.
you.
Thank you.
All right.
you.
Thanks, Terina, and we look forward to your music business.
Thank you.
All right.
Aloha. Issue 32 of my disgrace zine, Munster Times, is currently out now. Munster is basically a place for me to talk about my great loves and propaganda, mostly about Collingwood. And speaking of Collingwood, one of my great loves is football, and we decided to start a new segment in this issue called Call Yourself a Football Fan. I stole the idea from a UK soccer rag called When Saturday Comes. In this, I interview a musician where we just talk nothing about football. Our very first victim is none other than Damien Cowell, of course well known for the DC3, Damien Cowell's Disco Machine, Root, and of course Tism. In this interview, Damien and I discuss football, soccer, and his grandfather, who played 97 games for St Kilda and played for Victoria, back when they actually meant something. He also tells me about playing underage soccer for Victoria, where he was abused by opposition fans, and also discusses what he says is the worst Tism song ever. Also, very honoured to have an interview with none other than Dana Stanks, frontwoman for L7. She discusses L7 reformation, the latest LP, what went wrong with the crowdfunding campaign, and what happened behind the scenes when Marky Ramone and John Lyndon went out at a punk rock panel last year. Also, Fred Negro's Pub returns. Issue 31, Pub made its glorious return to print form in this disgraced zine. Fred approached me, and being a lifelong friend as well as a fan of Fred's, it was an absolute honour to keep his disgraced publication going in my also disgraced publication. This one, 8 pages, what Fred and Viv were doing in lockdown, plus a beautiful A3 colour fold-out, exclusively in Munster Times. All this and more in the latest issue of Munster.
That's all for this week. If you want to get in contact with us, send us an email at ideas@studioemedia.com.au. Thanks for watching. See you next time.